Hi everyone and welcome back to National League Lowdown with me, Dan. Tonight I'm joined by Craig. How are you doing, mate? You okay?
Very well, mate. Very, very happy with some of the news we've had in the last couple of hours. It's given us a little bit more than we were planning to cover, but something very, very important that we want to cover tonight as well. Now.
Yeah, definitely some really good news. Mark, are you okay, mate?
Yeah, hello, everybody. Yep, as Craig said, lots of good news, which we're going to cover in a sec. But yep, the only way is up.
Definitely. And we are joined tonight by Yeovil supporter Ethan. Thank you for joining us, mate. How are you?
No problem. Not too bad. Yourself?
Yeah, good, mate. Really good. Like I say, we've got some really positive news to talk about. We've obviously done a few shows recently talking about Morecambe, talking about the awful situation that was going on there. But in the recent hours, we've been getting some more positive news that the sale seems to be going through. Probably 99% done, which is incredible. We've had Darren on here, we've had Dave on here talking really passionately. We've seen the support that the club's had over the last few months in particular, and it's really brought the football community together. So this is really great news. So Craig, what's your views on the Morecambe situation, mate? Obviously really great news and we're very happy for them.
Yeah, so I'm delighted for them. It seems that football's won here. The football community really seem to kind of rally behind them, and the pressure that has been put on their hopefully past owner now that has really kind of hopefully caused an effect. And they seem to have that light at the end of the tunnel that a lot of them didn't feel was coming. What they've got to look forward to now is some football, and potentially as soon as next Saturday. So I don't think they're worried about what squad they're going to get out. Although I imagine Derek Adams' phone has probably been non-stop this afternoon once the news has come out from players, because I imagine now it's quite an exciting package to be a part of. Can we be part of that first team that Morecambe put out afterwards? But for their fans, I think even now, if you said you're going to finish 24th, they'd bite your hand off, because they're actually going to finish 24th rather than be expelled from the league. So fantastic news. If it means they have to go down first before they come back up, then I'm sure they still bite your hand off, and it's excellent news for them.
Yeah, I think obviously with Morecambe, I think it's been such a rocky road. We've had people on here like Dave and Darren as well, and it was very much a case of, you know, the writing was on the wall. Now we're seeing some more positivity. Obviously, the sale nearly being done, and it now just feels like what we said a couple of weeks ago, where if they could just fulfil the season, fulfil the fixtures, then that is a positive season for them by, you know, the standards that they're at. And honestly, I'm absolutely over the moon for them. I think the fact that, you know, they've probably just about got a squad, including youth players and things like that, won't bother them. The fact that they're just turning up and playing games, the fans are getting to go to games. If they finish bottom, like you're saying, they have to go down to rebuild and come back up. They're just happy that they've got a football club to support, and I'm absolutely over the moon for them. Ethan, what's your thoughts on the Morecambe situation, mate?
I'm just delighted for them, to be honest. They've had an awful time of it, and there's been a lot of clubs that are similar. Hartlepool have had problems, Southend have had problems as well. And I'm just delighted that the fans have football to watch again, because it's part of the routine. And I'm glad that the whole of lower league football got behind them and really pushed for this move to be taken seriously as well. It's not done yet, but it's at least some positive news for Morecambe fans for once.
Yeah, definitely. Like you say, obviously we're all a bit apprehensive until it's all signed, sealed, delivered, just given reputations and things that have gone before. But I think, you know, any kind of positivity now for fans around Morecambe, they'll take whatever they can. And I think it's so important that, you know, the football has won by the looks of things. You know, like I say, if it had gone under, it was another club of many, which will take me to Mark next. Obviously, Mark, this was a situation that was close to your heart, being a Macclesfield supporter. You've been there, you've been through it. We've talked about it at length, but this is really positive news tonight.
Absolutely, because as we've all said, football has won. The right people are listening now. Why it's had to be dragged on for so long, I don't think we'll ever know. But I would tell the Morecambe fans, look forward, but wait until the ink is dry. And the official, when you see the new owners holding the scarf up here, it's going to be everything. Sky Sports will probably turn up, you know, because, you know, they turn up to an opening of an envelope, let's face it. And this was the thing. This is what Macclesfield Town couldn't do, because we were kicked out of the National League in very similar circumstances. But Punjab Warriors, they've been like Warriors in trying to get this deal done, been ratified by the National League, and if it all gets sorted before Saturday, and the National League say, "Yep, you've got a game," that place is going to be absolutely rocking, and it's going to be a sellout. And football will be back in Morecambe, and they're joining a lot of clubs on no points, but they've got to get started. Who's to say that? And if they get out of the year, because we predicted them to go down, I would happily have egg on my face if they finish mid-table. They get some decent players. There's that PFA release list. There's some hell of a good lot of players on there. Morecambe, if they've got the finances, can say, "Come and join us. Let's consolidate. Then we can start." There's no reason why they can't finish high in the league.
Yeah, I think what you said there as well about players still being available. I think Craig mentioned it as well before, where people will want to be a part of it as well. There'll be players out there looking in, going, "We could really be part of this resurrection of Morecambe." Keep them up, bit of a siege mentality type thing, and I think that is something that players want to be a part of. You see that at every level. There'll be projects that people will be like, I could be a part of that. Even if it's just someone that says, "I'll be there for a year," we'll try keep them up. Things like that. I think that's really important. So, like you said, I think the key part is football wins. Football wins with this situation. They could have easily went under, and it could have been a disaster. But football won.
And
it's
now,
very interesting that their game on Saturday is the 12:30 kickoff as well. So I think I'd speak for myself, but I'll probably speak for all four of us here. Before we go to our game, we're going to turn that on the telly and we're going to watch. We're going to be buzzing that we can see
absolutely.
On the telly.
And
the team that we all thought was dead. No one thought this was going to happen, and every Morecambe fan we spoke to, every kind of running thing was, it's done. It's over for them. So for them to be back, whatever squad they get out on Saturday is irrelevant. Whatever their score is on Saturday is irrelevant. Just the fact that they could be back playing, and that they can build a platform from there and go on and on. And honestly, I'm delighted, and I think it would just make the whole league better. You don't want teams having a week off when other teams aren't having, when every team's playing. So and they're only going to miss what I believe is going to be 3 games. They're going to be 3 games behind. That's playing 3 Tuesdays when no one else is. It's not that much of a strain on them to catch back up. And
let's not forget,
I'd be delighted to be wrong about them being 24th now. Absolutely delighted.
Yeah, and let's not forget they're not in the National League Cup anymore, so they don't have that burden on them. They can get on concentrating on the league. But I say this to the government who've set up this independent football regulator. I say this to the Premier League. I say this to the Football League. I say this to the National League and all the levels in between. Do not let this sort of situation happen again. Don't let these people who couldn't run a bath, never mind a football club, don't let them in. Don't vet them. Go through every fine detail before they even think about bringing out the wallet and buying a football club. If they ain't no good anywhere else, then they're not going to be any good for a football club. Look at Salford Red Devils in the Super League. I mean, Andy Burnham's going to be speaking to the RFL. There's over 100 years of history in Salford with that rugby league club, but football cannot allow the likes of the Jason Whittinghams, of the guy at Sheffield Wednesday, Reading, wherever. There's been too many clubs going to the wall, and it has to stop. And they've got to start getting every prospective person who wants to buy a football club fine-tooth comb. Do it with a fine-tooth comb. And if there's one hair out of place, no. Say no. Out you go. There's the door, my mate. Off you pop.
I think another positive thing with Morecambe is as well, they've not got that much catching up to do. They can easily still compete in this league. There's teams on 0 points. They've only got 4 games in hand. It's not going to be that heavy on them in midweek.
Yeah,
They've not got the
I've
national.
seen the running joke on the Morecambe Twitter page is like, oh my god, we're 17th at the minute because
Yeah,
we got Truro and have got lower goal difference, and now they're actually going to be starting. So it's fantastic news.
I seen that, and that someone had put another productive week in the National League for us that moved up a place yesterday or something. I was like, at least they can find like humour yesterday. Obviously more positive today, but they didn't know this yesterday. So, but yeah, obviously just lastly before we move on, just everyone at the deck is very happy for Morecambe. We're very happy for everyone associated with Morecambe. We're looking forward to seeing you this season, and obviously, I think we can all speak for each other here, but I think we've probably gained a fan in all of us. So if our team aren't playing, I'll definitely be watching Morecambe instead and cheering you on. So all the best for the season, and we're just so pleased that this has happened and the news is positive, and we can cover that for you. But yeah, so we'll move on from Morecambe. Obviously, the reason we have Ethan tonight is because we are going to be talking about Yeovil. Obviously, Yeovil's season has started. No goals so far. 1 point from a possible 6. Not the best start. So I just want to talk to you, Ethan, a little bit about obviously the start you've made, and then obviously your expectations for the season going forward, mate.
Yeah, of course. So we had quite a mixed pre-season as we normally do. We played a couple of teams higher, Bristol Rovers, Cardiff, for example, getting some nice experience against some EFL sides. Also playing against some sides lower in the pyramid and getting some results as well, getting much needed minutes. I feel like our recruitment itself, it's been fairly good. It's definitely the quality of players gone up since the new ownership group have come in. But we need to turn this into results now. And the opening game against Hartlepool, you definitely saw glimpses in that second half where we created chances, we looked bright, but we regressed slightly at Forest Green, where it's sort of a free hit of a game for a team like us because you'll go into a team with real quality. And the way we played, we invited Forest Green onto our back line, which you just can't do. We tried to punt the ball long up to Jarvis, tried to get him to hold the ball up. But it's an impossible job for a lone striker in a game like that. And we ended up, I don't think we had a shot on target, and we lost the game 2-0. But there's still plenty of games to go for the manager to prove himself with these players that he's now got. He's got the resources behind him now. He just needs to turn it into results.
Yeah, I mean, just from the outside looking in, obviously, it's no goals is obviously the standout stat of it. Do you feel like obviously the goals will come? Like, are you creating enough chances? Obviously, we'll talk about the manager in a second, but do you think the goals will come?
I think so. I think we've definitely got the quality of player to be able to score goals. We've got Tavon Campbell, who's come in. He's had a lot of experience in the National League, and he's had good experience with Woking, Rochdale, Solihull, etc. We've got Junior Marias, who's definitely well known in the league. He's also got an eye for goal. And then Aaron Jarvis, who we had last season, who with the limited chances he did get, did very well. I think he scored 7 league goals, but he was injured for most of the season. So if we can keep him fit, it will definitely be a force for us.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. I followed you guys quite closely last season. Being a Braintree fan, obviously we came up together from the National League South, and you started the season on fire. Like at one stage, I think it was more from the outside. There was talk of you guys potentially making the playoffs early door, and then from November onwards, I had a look earlier. You actually were 22nd in the form table. So this obviously started the season. Do you feel it's a hangover from the lack of form at the later stages of last season, or do you think there's been quite a bit of a changeover and it's just an adaptation period?
I think we've had quite a lot of turnover in the squad. We've got quite a lot of new players. We've kept a decent amount of our core players from last season, but I think we're just trying to see what system fits us best. And it's not 2 easy games. We had Hartlepool at home, who were notoriously hard to break down. Played 5 at the back, and we couldn't create much until the second half when we had all our attacking players on the pitch. And Forest Green was also a hard place. It's always going to be a hard place to go to. They've got real quality. They had Nick Horton on the bench. They had Cairo Mitchell, who scored goals for fun last season at Rochdale. I don't think the way we set up was right. I think you can take the game to these teams because they're not going to expect it. And we just sat back and invited pressure on. The goal was always going to come.
Yeah, I mean, that takes us quite nicely on to obviously your thoughts on the manager, but obviously, you say there about not setting up properly and things like that. And I think Forest Green, I've seen the stats obviously because I know they've done it last week with Solihull. They've done it again this week where they've posted how many shots they've had, how much possession they've had, and I think the line was relentless or something like that. And
Wonder
it was
who
just
did that.
yeah, I wonder who was behind that. But anyways, yeah. So obviously, just with Yeovil, like I said, the two tough games. So yeah, no goals. You know, you've done well to get a point
Yeah.
against Hartlepool. You know, and not many teams are going to go to Forest Green and come away with a win this season, I would assume. So, you know, obviously you've got Brackley coming up. That feels like it's kind of a must-win for you now, though.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's a game we expect to win. I think a lot of people in this league forget the size of Yeovil because we were in the EFL for a long, long time, and to drop down was heartbreaking enough. But we went down to the 6th tier as well, and he got Mark Cooper. He did a very good job in the 6th tier. He would have had a lot of resources for the league because at the time, 2 years ago, there was a few full-time teams, but it's definitely not as competitive as it is now. But at the start of this season, I feel like 1 point out of the first 2 games was kind of what fans expected. It's just the manner in where those results, like which those results came. It just looked heartless on Saturday, and last week was okay. Definitely a lot better than last season. We started last season off with 2 losses, and I feel like it's an improvement, but we have to, with the players we've got, we have to find out what system works for us. And if Mark Cooper can't get that out of his team, he can't get the best out of them, then maybe it's time to move on, because last season, the end of last season was unacceptable from a fan's point of view. Finishing 22nd, was it, in the second half of last season after being on a playoff push through the first half of the season. In any other job, really, it's going to get you sacked.
So would you say you're still in the Cooper in camp? Because judging by Twitter, I'd say your fan base is a little bit split on that at the moment. Probably, I'd say slightly more edging towards Cooper out now, I'd say.
Yeah. I think it's definitely edging towards Cooper out. And I think you need to give him 10 games. You need to give him the first 10 games of the season to see where we are. And if it's below expectation, then maybe we'll have to start looking at a new manager. But a new manager is not always the answer. It's just,
as you said, your next 2 are massive. Obviously, Brackley at home midweek, and then you come to us, Braintree, next Saturday, which both teams, I hate saying it at times because I've mentioned we were top of the league about 1,000 times. But both teams that are expected to be down the bottom end of the table, that should be effectively maybe 6 points for you in the grand scheme of things. And then, like you said, if you're looking at 7 points off after 4, that's a good start. So it's amazing. It's very early in the season, so I think it can flip very, very quickly.
Long way to go. Ethan, I'm going to ask you this now. You say you've got the new people running the club, and well, it could have been another situation that Morecambe found themselves in if that hadn't happened. How are you finding the new owners, and do they understand what the club means to the town of Yeovil? Because it's got a very rich history with the FA Cup giant killings and everything like that goes with it. Yeovil is a big club. Have they got the supporters' ambitions at heart? How ambitious are they, and are they fully tuned into what Yeovil Town's all about?
I think obviously they're owners who reside in Dubai, but they've flown to Yeovil, and they held fan forums which were very, very few and far between with our previous 3 owners. I feel like they're trying to listen to the fans' views while also trying to make us sustainable. Obviously, we don't own the land surrounding the football club, and that's high up on their agenda of doing, is obtaining the land for the football club. They're trying to make us, I feel, more financially sustainable. I don't think it's going to be another situation of York, Wrexham, etc., just throwing money at it and hoping it's successful. He's just, I feel he's listening to the fans, and there's a lot more communication than there was under the previous owners.
That's essential. That is absolutely essential, because we do that at Mac ever since we reformed, and we had some good ties with Yeovil in the early 90s. I think it was Sammy McElroy's first trophy with Mike when we went to Yeovil on a Tuesday night. But and ask anybody about Mark Coates down there, the guy that we signed from there. But has it had to be, with you came up with Braintree, as Craig pointed out? Did you feel at the time that was needed? Sometimes you got to go backwards to go forward, sort of situation. Was it absolutely needed?
Absolutely, because in the National League, we were the fans expect results, and we weren't getting them. We'd finished lower mid-table. It's where we feel like we shouldn't be. Until last season, I think a lot of Yeovil Town fans would have bit your hand off for a mid-table or high mid-table finish, because we've had a lot of bad news in recent years. We've had 4 relegations in the last sort of 11 years, and I think going down really helped us to sort of identify ourselves as a football club. We managed to get the right players in. Mark Cooper likes to talk about recruiting locally, and some of our best players have been recruited from clubs like Taunton and Torquay that have gone on to do great things with us. And the thing with the National League South, I feel like it was definitely needed a successful season to sort of get the fans back on side with what the squad are trying to achieve. And by winning the league by such a points margin, we expected last season to hit the ground running back in the National League, and we did that for the first half of the season. But I feel like as the fans got too comfortable, and maybe the players got too comfortable, that's when results started to slip and we stopped scoring goals. Because we don't concede an awful lot. We don't concede an awful lot of goals. But
that's what I was thinking, Ethan. I was thinking, obviously, you've got a solid base to build from. You're not conceding too many goals. And obviously, we spoke before we went live, but I did say, I was like, obviously about the goals, and I said there will come eventually. When you're not conceding many goals, those slender defeats or those draws can soon turn into wins, and it feels like it could turn easily. But I know you mentioned earlier about you want to give Cooper 10 games. My question to you would be, just if you don't win your next 2 games, which are games that you should be winning, would you change that to 4 games and then change your opinion? No, still 10 games.
I feel like it's too cutthroat. Say if we got 4 points from the next 2 games, I think we'd be happy with it. It's good progress. And 5 points after 4 games, it could have been a lot worse, and we can just build from there. But I feel like if we win against Brackley on Wednesday night, we'll take a good following as we normally do to Braintree, and we'll give it a right good go. We tend to win there as well. So if we get 2 wins on the bounce, it'll be a whole different conversation.
Are you coming, Ethan?
I'm not. Unfortunately, I'm working. I wish I could.
That's my first commentary of the season for the Zone on that one. I'll be on that one for the Zone, so I apologise if you're watching.
I wish I could.
Why is your commentary that bad, Craig?
I'll let the viewers let you know on that one.
Just slightly biased, maybe.
This is Wednesday night, isn't it?
Saturday we're playing each other.
Oh, Saturday. Sorry, I was going to say I might be able to watch it. I'll be able to give you some feedback, Craig. Cause I think we're 5:30. I think we're at Wealdstone 5:30 Saturday. So I might watch it and listen to Craig's commentary. But that's assuming the Zone have audio and visual, because we'll see. We'll see. You never know. Yeah,
if it's me on commentary, they might decide not to have audio, mate.
I have to get that in after the disaster that was Carlisle's first game back in the National League last week. The coverage wasn't the best.
So the ones I watched yesterday seemed to be much improved.
Yeah, it was. It was much improved, to be fair. So hopefully they've learned from the feedback. But obviously, just before we move on from Yeovil and get into the weekend's games, just one last prediction from you, Ethan. Where do you think you'll finish this season?
I think we can be happy with anywhere between 11th and 14th. It'll be an improvement on last season, but I feel like if we creep into the playoffs, it might be too soon, and it might deject us if, say, we get knocked out of an eliminator or something. So I feel like 11th to 14th is a sensible estimate.
Yeah, I mean, I can't quite remember off the top of my head when we've done our predictions, but I think we kind of had you in that area somewhere. Yeah. I think I'm looking at Craig because he might 14th. Yeah, I was looking at Craig because I thought he might have it down on his yellow sheet. There we go, famous yellow sheet. But yeah, we kind of had you in that area as well.
Yeah.
Just like I say, it's a good solid season improvement. Yeah, lots to build on. But yeah, so anyways, obviously, thank you, Ethan, for your take on Yeovil. We're going to obviously move on to yesterday's games. We'll get everyone's views on what happened. So we'll start obviously with the lunchtime kickoff, which was Rochdale versus Altrincham. I know me and Craig were messaging quite a lot in this game, just giving our views to each other. But Mark, I'll come to you first. Obviously, Rochdale coming out 2-1 winners. Any standout performances for you?
Just well, Manny D.
Mm,
And, you know, it's getting a little. It'll get a little obvious during the season, but to be fair, I've looked at Altrincham a little bit more because I pinpointed Oliver Crankshaw, and if he's got completely over the knee injury, which has kept him out of a lot of Altrincham's games, he is a talent. He's got the pace. He's got the skill, and after the departures from Altrincham, he could be like the cliche of the brand new signing. But Rochdale as a whole, I mean, going 1-0 down, just sparked them back into life. And yeah, at least one of our predictions is going fairly smoothly for the top three. But it's when you do a performance like that, particularly when you have come from 1-0 down, you know, you try and pinpoint your individuals, but yeah, Rochdale as a whole was, very good. But Crankshaw, I'll be looking at him with particular interest. I do like him as a player, and if he can get a sustained run, keep himself fit, not have any of the bad injuries that he's had, then yeah, he'll be a key player for Altrincham.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the game, most of it anyways, before I went to Brunton Park, and Keaton Ward for Altrincham, his goal was absolutely outstanding. Like
that was brilliant, yeah.
The technique was unbelievable. Like, I thought that's goal of the day, and it was the first goal of the day. But it turns out there was some actually really good goals yesterday, so kind of got trumped a little bit. But I just thought Rochdale, they didn't really do like anything spectacular, but they came from behind. The won when not playing well. It's just a sign of what a good team that's going to have a good season do. Altrincham lost it narrowly. I didn't think they'd done too much wrong either. It was just, one good goal and then an own goal was the difference. Craig, obviously you were watching it the same as me because we were messaging back and forth a bit. What was your views on the game?
Yeah, so I think we both agreed that Rochdale started the better side. Then Altrincham scored the goal, and it kind of flipped the momentum. They were on top of maybe looking like they could have added a second. Then Rochdale kind of scored from nowhere, and it swung back the other way. So it's just showing how much the goals kind of changed momentum. But once they got ahead, they looked fairly calm and composed, and it was probably similar to last week where their game management just kind of eased them through the final 15 minutes fairly easy, and then they just got 6 points from 6. Not much more you can ask really at this time in the season. Just pick up the wins and get the perfect start.
Yeah, definitely. Ethan, did you watch the game, mate? Any thoughts on the result?
I managed to tune into the second half. I had a couple of stand-up performances. First of all, the young goalkeeper for Rochdale. I thought he was fantastic. Made some great saves. I think Gale up front for Altrincham had quite a hard time of it yesterday, having to pull into wide areas to sort of try and make things happen. But also Kyrell Gordon for Rochdale at right centre half. I think he linked up with Adabeo Rowling very, very well, and he had a great performance for me. Obviously, you talk about Alaraki, a fantastic finish, great goal, but when you're winning, he's not going to care about how the second goal came about. It's not his, but when you're at the top, things just start going right for you, and if you can find any way to win, you're going to be up there come the end of the season. Like
kind of good side, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, just obviously we've talked about Oliver Watmuth anyways previously on previous shows, but I was very impressed with him for his age, especially when they were trying to run the clock down, waste a bit of time. He knew what he was doing, taking his time, palming the ball down, just, calming everybody down for someone who's 17, 18 years old, and he's the one telling everybody to stay calm. I just thought it really stood out to me, and we've talked heavily on here about goalkeepers and things in this league, and I think he's one to watch for the future in particular, because he didn't look out of place at all yesterday. Looked well at home. So yeah, like I say, 2 wins from 2 for Rochdale. I mean, you can't ask for much more than that, really. Not playing well but winning, which is a good sign as well. So we'll move on. Next game was Aldershot versus Boston. Craig, I'll come to you first on this one, mate. What was your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so as we called him, the shop, Leonard John Lewis just showed exactly what he's got again. He was comfortably probably the best player on the pitch, took 2 really good chances, but the game again probably swung on the red card. I know it caused a little bit of debate on social media, but for me, it was reckless, it was dangerous, and it was the right decision. And then it kind of swung heavily in Boston's favour, but right at the end, Aldershot came knocking, scored through Tristan Abrahams, who's obviously signed from Maidenhead late on, and then they had a goal ruled out for a foul on the goalkeeper. Now, I do believe that goalies get probably a little bit more protection than they need to, but I did think this one was maybe slightly over the line and just a foul, but it could have been a fantastic comeback for them. So all's not lost for Aldershot, but again, they're probably maybe feeling a little bit like Yeovil at the moment. They've had some tough games, but they probably thought that could have been a winnable one at home, and they've dropped all 3 points, maybe due to their captain's rash decision early in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think 20 years ago, it's maybe not a red card, but these days you can't go flying in like that. Simple as that, really. Like, it was reckless. He could have hurt him. It's a red card. I know Callum was debating this with former Premier League referee Mark Halsey on social media, but they both agreed that it was a red card as well. So, and like I just wanted to mention there as well, with Aldershot, obviously they've lost both games really narrowly. 3-2, 3-2. I think if they can just tighten up at the back, like we said, obviously Yeovil, but with the opposite, where if they can score, I think the results will come for them. I wouldn't be too worried as yet. Like I say, if they can just tighten up, the results will turn into positive ones.
They haven't tightened up for about 3 years, though. They've always conceded those older shots.
Well, if they can tighten up, it might be asking for a miracle. I don't know, but if they can, then the results will come. But they might also just lose every game 3-2. We never know. But yeah, no, I just think. Yeah, but obviously it was Boston's first league game of the season as well. I know they've played in the cup as well, but first league game, obviously to get off to a winning start, really positive. And like I say, the man shop, Lionel John Lewis, doing what he does best. But yeah, it looked like a really eventful game when I watched the highlights. To be fair, I kind of wish I'd watched it. But yeah, Ethan, what was your thoughts on this game, mate?
I feel like, as you touched upon this, they needn't worry Aldershot. The goals are going to come. They've got quality in their team. Tristan Abrahams, I think, is a great signing for him. He's known to score a decent amount of goals at the level. They've still got Josh Barrett. Everyone knows his technical ability in this league. It's a narrow defeat, but a very good result for Boston. And Lionel John Lewis, I think he brings that experience that they maybe were missing last season to try and get results over the line in the first half of it. And yeah, as I said, great result for him, and they've started well, Boston.
Yeah, I agree, mate. And Tristan Abrahams, obviously, former Carlisle striker as well. Yeah, I mean, we talked before we went, didn't we? Before we went live about former Carlisle and Yeovil connections. There's a few that have done both teams. But Tristan Abrahams didn't have the best time up here, but he is proven in these leagues and he will score goals. He just didn't have the best time when he came up here. Mark, what was your thoughts on this result, mate?
Well, we've gone on about how Graham Coughlin has revitalised Boston, and to see he's hit the ground running after he could have done it against Morecambe, but obviously circumstances wasn't to be. But they could have sat around waiting for this to happen and be lethargic. They didn't. They got off to a good start in the National League Trophy. They've gone on here. Yeah, I said in our prediction show, what do Aldershot want out of this season? Do they want a good league position, or do they want the FA Trophy? Tristan Abrahams will get the goals, but yeah, get a centre half in, because that goal difference just might come to bite them. But Boston, sort of a resurgent Boston, and I just hope that now that I've said that, that isn't going to come to bite me either.
Yeah, I mean, it'll always work for one of us every week, won't it? We'll big someone
It
up,
ain't worked for me yet.
and then it'll drop it, and then they'll drop a stinker the week after. But yeah, no, I think we summed that game up pretty well. Obviously, the next game was the game I was at, which was Carlisle United versus Boreham Wood. I'm going to come to you guys first before I say my piece. Ethan, what was your thoughts on this result, mate?
First of all, Boreham Wood did very, very well. A fantastic result. No one expected them to get. Regan Lilly scoring 2 goals as expected in this league. Fans of this league know what he's about, and one of them a fantastic finish into the far corner. Carlisle will be disappointed with the result, but then again, they're not going to win every week, and I think that they'll realise that they'll be up there definitely. They've definitely got the quality in their team. Big fan of David Adjaboy. I think he's quality. He was in this league before with Sutton, I believe, and he was fantastic for them every time I've seen him. But Boreham Wood, fantastic result. One they didn't expect to get, but if they can start picking up those points this season, they might just survive.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Adjaboy there. I'll just quickly mention him here. I thought he was really poor. I've seen him in both games now. He didn't really offer a lot. He got hooked at half time yesterday. Obviously, I know the potentially not playing to his strengths, because obviously his strength is pace and things like that. But just early on, the signs aren't looking great for him at the moment. Getting hooked at half time, but hopefully he will come good. Just from my perspective, massive credit to Boreham Wood. They could have even won it, to be fair. They were the better team by far in the first half. Could have been a couple of goals ahead. We're probably lucky it was only one. We went on a mad, took Adjaboy off at half time, brought Kelly on, scored pretty much straight away. Went on like a mad 20 minutes where Regan Linney just ripped them apart. Scored 2 fantastic finishes, and then Terrell Thomas and Aaron Hayden at the back, just getting caught in no man's land for both goals. And like I say, you couldn't argue they didn't deserve it. I would even argue at a point that it maybe deserved all 3 in the end. But, it's a bit of a shock to the system for a lot of Carlisle fans, I think. I think a lot of fans are just assuming we're going to turn up and beat these teams. And, like you said, they're not going to win every week. And maybe this was maybe a bit of the kick up the behind that we maybe needed. But like I say, massive credit to Boreham Wood, and Luke Norris up front caused massive problems for our defence all day. So yeah, massive credit to them. Mark, what was your thoughts on this result, mate?
Welcome to the National League, Carlisle. I don't think anybody expected Boreham Wood to claw it back like they did, but I saw your comments, particularly on Terrell Thomas. Apparently, he played more like Terry Thomas. But no, I mean, but Luke Garrett knows what it's all about. He can produce when it matters the most, and the fact is that they did it against one of the club, one of the biggest clubs in the league, and it's that experience that gets you there. I'm not sure how your goalkeeper played, Breeze.
Yeah, Breeze didn't do a lot wrong. He didn't.
No.
I mean, he got nutmegged for the first goal. Maybe could have done better if you're being extra critical. But other than that, it was more a defensive from set pieces and crosses into the box. Breeze didn't really have a chance with any of them.
Well, maybe he got his second wind. Anyway, but no, I mean, if Carlisle are to survive in the top half, then they need to show that they're a big club. They've got Regan Linney, no problem, and our good friend, his strike partner, whose name escapes me at the moment, even though
Luke Armstrong.
Luke Armstrong, yes. Shout out to Luke Armstrong. I'm rooting for you, my man. But get that back four settled with either somebody who is absolutely, he knows what he's doing in that league. I think you know who I'm referring to there. Or, again, go back to the PFA release list. There's going to be somebody out there who will tickle Mark Hughes' fancy, but you can't afford to let a lead like that slip and you can't afford to let it slip with goals going in your net. Otherwise, that will cause a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest criticisms yesterday was it was the same back four and goalkeeper that we got relegated with. We've signed Morgan Feeney over the summer, but he's not fit. Bevis Mugabe's in the squad, but he's not getting a kick for some reason, unless he's not fully fit either. So Sam Murray, who we signed from Man United, wasn't in the squad yesterday. So there's a lot of question marks over what's going on with the defence at the moment.
Stop playing the
A lot of
same old
questions.
record. You'll wear it out eventually.
Yeah, I mean, like say, if the same players that have let you down last season are still getting played
We'll
now,
let you
how are
down
you
again.
expecting different results? It doesn't make sense to me. It
Oh.
doesn't. But yesterday, in particular, Harper and Hayden and Terrell Thomas, all three of them. Jack Ellis was okay, but them three were really at fault for a lot of it, and got a lot of stick, and rightfully so, to be fair. But Craig, before we move on, we'll come to you. What was your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, not too much to add. I think, as we all said, Boreham showed incredible character to go down. That's probably filtered down from the top, and their manager. He knows the league probably a lot better than anyone at Carlisle does. He's been there at the top, he's been there at the bottom, and he knows what it's about. And he knew that he installed something in his team, and he saw it yesterday. That never say die attitude. And a point away at Carlisle, when you're aiming for probably 52, 53 to stay up, is that it could be absolutely massive. So, because like you said, if you get your fixture sheet at the start of the season, you probably chalk that one down as a 0. So to just put a little 1 next to it is massive for them. The reverse pass from Sousa for the first goal was a fantastic pass. Luke Norris is a fantastic signing for them. I think we spoke about him on the prediction show that we had. And for him to hit the ground with 2 goals yesterday, I expect him to be in double figures by the end of the season for them. Carlisle Linney was not a shock. Pleased for Georgie Kelly. Hopefully that's a start of something for him there as well. Probably more an impact player off the bench. He had that impact for you, but unfortunately, you were not defensively stable, and you're not going to get anywhere near titles without a defence that's stable. They say that attackers win games and defenders win championships. So definitely an area for you to sort out.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Couldn't agree more. We'll move on now to a team that we all kind of predicted we're going to do okay. Eastleigh against Gateshead. Obviously, Gateshead coming out 2-0 winners. It's been a really poor start from Eastleigh. Really poor. Mark, I'll come to you first on this one, mate. Obviously, Eastleigh underwhelming, but Gateshead bouncing back after a bad start. Good result. What was your thoughts on this one?
Well, all we need to do is just get our predictions wrong on any team, and they seem to do well. But Gateshead are being looked at as fodder. We've looked at them as fodder, and it's going to be criticisms, if you will. But I think it's what people might know and situations, everything like that. You know, they've had a bit of a topsy-turvy summer, and sometimes it can absolutely galvanising. Whereas we've gone on about Eastleigh and gone, oh, look at them signings. Yeah, look at them signings, because they've got to gel. And if they're not gelling at the moment, what's going to happen? Oh, they're going to throw even more money at it. And you've got to let them gel all over again. They cannot afford to let that happen. But in the face of adversity, Gateshead, it's a long way down there from Gateshead down to Eastleigh. And yeah, they've given the support something to shout about, and they've given themselves a basis to build on as well. And Dominic Telford could be their talisman this season. If he gets off to a flyer, then look out for him. But no, genuinely pleased for Gateshead and Eastleigh. Come on, you got work to do.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Telford there. It was some goal as well, some finish. Craig, what was your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so I've just put down that it's a great finish from Telford, as you've just mentioned. But a second goal, especially for Kane Adam, Eastleigh was so open, and they were toothless going forward. We've sung the praises of Aaron Blair, but he seemed anonymous in the game at times. And
like Lionel Blair.
Eastleigh have obviously had Brackley away and Gateshead at home. they probably, that should be 6 points in the grand scheme of things. Obviously, Brackley opening day can be difficult travelling to a newly promoted team, but they've walked away with nothing, no goals, and they're probably starting to panic a little bit there. We obviously saw some fake rumours going around last night about them.
Don't believe all you read on the internet, folks. It's not always right.
But once Gateshead had scored their second, and obviously they both come in quite quick succession, they didn't look overly troubled. And me and Dan especially got dug out by a Gateshead fan on Twitter Saturday morning saying that they can't believe we've even got his team to score. And then they went and won. So they were very pessimistic going into it. And it just shows that 90 minutes is a massive time in football, because he probably walked out that stadium with a spring in his step after watching his team, where he went in very pessimistic. But that is football in a nutshell, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And obviously the week previous we mentioned about obviously Southend going there and winning, but all 3 goals that Southend scored were from defensive errors, giving the ball away and things like that. It just shows if you tighten these things up, like we've mentioned, these mistakes, you cut them out, the results can all of a sudden just flip. So it's good for Gateshead obviously to get the win. And I think Eastleigh, like Mark says, have a lot of work to do. Ethan, what was your thoughts on this game, mate?
Well, I had Eastleigh to finish sort of quite high up the table this year in my predictions. I'm really a fan of Nick. I'm really a fan of Nick Townsend and Aaron Pierre, like some real EFL experience brought into the squad. I thought Aaron Blair would be an interesting signing as well, but as you touched upon, seemed anonymous in the game yesterday. Eastleigh were poor. Gateshead, great way to bounce back from opening day defeat to Southend, and I feel like they tightened up, which they didn't do on opening day, as you said, with the 3 goals being defensive errors, especially the first one I found quite poor, the lack of reaction to the ball hitting the post. But I'm not inspired by Gateshead's squad. I think it's the weakest it's been in a while. I don't think they'll reach the playoffs this season with the strength of some of the teams chasing those playoff spots, but it's a great result for them. Again, as Craig touched upon, I think it's not a game that Gateshead would have went and expected to win. It's a lot of travel, but fantastic result for them nonetheless.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, mate. I think you bang on there. Obviously, we'll move on to the next game, which is Forest Green Yeovil. Obviously, we've kind of touched on it anyways, but Ethan, I'll come to you first for obvious reasons. What did you make of the game, mate?
I just describe it as a real failure in sort of applying tactics to a game. I feel like we set up completely wrong. We sat in a low block and we tried to soak pressure up from a team with such attacking quality. It's never gonna. You can go at teams when you've got nothing. You've almost got nothing to lose in a game like York away or Forest Green away. But I think, as Mark Cooper said in his post-match interview, he did get the tactics wrong for the game yesterday, and he is at fault for that loss. You can also put part blame on the players. Jake Wannell, he spoke in a pre-match interview about our discipline last season at times being poor, and he's gone and got sent off for a really ridiculous reason. And it doesn't help when your captain he's not leading by example. Discipline's poor. It was another reason why we weren't so successful last season. But that said, it was an expected defeat. We didn't go there expecting to win. A point would have been nice. Last season we played very well there, where we could have won. We scored an opening goal, and we got unlucky within the last sort of 15, 20 minutes. But I think we've still got a few games to judge the manager on. Like I said, 10 games, and if we don't see much improvement, then maybe we have to look somewhere else.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Like I say, I think Forest Green's going to be a hard place to go for anyone, but you've got to give yourself a fighting chance as well. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, isn't it? Mark, what was your thoughts on this one, mate?
Oh, very hard. I mean, Forest Green made the 15th signing of the season, I believe it was, on Friday. The loanee from West Brom. Robbie Savage has had to get a win quickly, and he's done that. From what I've been seeing, all the stats aside, the playing. The Forest Green fans are loving the way they're playing at the moment, which doesn't come as a great surprise because the way they were playing it, we got them playing at Mac last season, He's taken that into the Forest Green side. Here's the thing. You've made 15 signings on top of keeping 18 players. How on earth are you going to keep everybody happy? If Nick Horton can cost 6 figures or whatever it was, and you keep him on the bench, he can't afford to be the Forest Green version of Josh Stones. But
Yeah.
Robbie Savage needed that win, needed a very quick win, especially after drawing last week, and he's got it. So let's see. Let's see what happens. I mean, we're 2 games in, a lot of expectancy, but yeah, it came sooner or later, but it's no surprise in the way it was won.
Yeah, I mean, we all talked on the preview shows and that, didn't we, saying about we kind of expect Forest Green to be up there, but we're just a bit apprehensive around Savage. Will it work out? Will it not work out? Will he be like Troy Deeney before him and Duncan Ferguson and people like that? Obviously, a win early is good. We'll see how they build from there and see how they get on. Craig, what was your thoughts on the game, mate?
Yeah, so from the highlights package, they had a lot of the ball at Forest Green, but until about 70, 75 minutes, they didn't have anything really clear cut, and probably Yeovil thought we might be able to kind of get away with a point here. But as Ethan said, they didn't really have an outball, so eventually it kept coming and coming and coming. And then is it Buyambu? Apologies for the correct. He obviously, I still can't work out if the first goal was a cross or a shot, but it might be one he just put in that kind of area and seeing what happens. And then there was an absolute, I forgot to take the name down, but an outrageous effort from the halfway line that had the keeper beaten that come off the post.
I thought it was.
It was an outrageous effort. And then from the camera view I saw, I thought the second yellow was maybe a little bit harsh, but obviously Ethan was probably more kind of in on that one. And then once they're down to 10 men, you're probably going to add a second, and that's what Mitchell's done. And that's kind of what you want when you're a new attacking player in a team. A team to go down to 10 men and be chasing the game because you feel like you're going to get a chance. And he took it when it come along. So yeah, job done for Savage and Forest Green. But I'd imagine, without any disrespect to Yeovil, he's going to have some tougher tests and teams come and try and play against them a little bit more than Yeovil did.
Yeah, definitely. And I had on my notes when I watched the highlights as well, outrageous shot from the halfway line. I was like, I had that written down as well. But yeah, obviously we'll move on now. Craig, I'll come straight back to you for obvious reasons. Hartlepool 2, Braintree 0. Not obviously, you mentioned previously top of the league first week.
I had to get it in a lot last week, mate, because I knew it weren't going to last.
Yeah. What was your thoughts on this one, mate?
Yeah, so we obviously had Max Kretschmar on last week from Wealdstone, and he was speaking about Hartlepool, and he said they don't ever seem to do anything spectacular, but when they're playing teams that are lower than them, they just seem to beat them. And that's kind of the theme I had yesterday. I watched them, wasn't amazed by anything they'd done, didn't think, wow, these are so much better than us, but they walked away 2-0 victors. The first goal was an own goal. I think the player should have cut it back, but he's actually cut it across the box, and it's caused a little bit of confusion, and it's turned into the own net by Francis Clark. And then the second goal was the penalty from Alex Reid. Again, nice for a striker to get off the mark. A penalty is ideal for them, and that resulted in George Langston getting a red as well. I think it was a second yellow, but it was a pull down in the box, so it could have easily been a denial of a goal scoring opportunity as well. I hope it was just a second yellow, so it was obviously only a one-match ban because he's captain, crucial to the back line back there. And then we went up the other end, and Akinde bullied their centre-half, won a penalty, and then missed the penalty. So one of those days for Braintree, but our home form's going to be massive. We've got Boreham Wood away. That is an away game on Wednesday night that you probably think, if we're going to stay up, we get something from that one. Hartlepool maybe not so much, but saying there was a couple of really tight offside calls in the highlights. There was two from Braintree that looked very, very tight that were given offside. One I think was actually at 0-0 as well on Fletcher Hubbard. Obviously, only seen it once on the highlights, but fine margins. But we ultimately, Hartlepool did enough to win, and we didn't on the day, and they got what they deserved. So disappointing, but it was not a free hit because I don't believe in any game being a free hit as such, but one that we were probably expected to lose, so not going to lose too much sleep over it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, you know, if he'd offered you after the first two games 3 points from six, you'd have took it, wouldn't you? You know, there weren't easy games either of them. So I think context is key, isn't it? You've obviously got some bigger games coming up that you should be getting points in, maybe. So I think live to fight another day. I think it's not the end of the world. Mark, what was your thoughts on this one, mate?
Don't get too pessimistic or excited about a league table after two games. I mean, Hartlepool, are they? Will they do anything? I mean, everybody will look to Alex Reid to get the goals. He's got his first goal of the season. Braintree to me will want to put it right quickly, because the last thing they want to do, and a lot of people will come out with the knives out if they do go into a sort of a mini slump so early in the season, that you'll have a lot of told you so, and that's not what they want. Hartlepool, by the sounds of it, about as exciting as what is pouring concrete, but sometimes you don't need to thrill the fans. As long as the fans are walking out there with 3 points, it could be a 1-0 97th minute winner, or it could be a 6-5 classic. As long as you've got the 3 points, then sometimes it doesn't matter how you win. But Braintree need to get it plugged pretty quickly, because a slump is a very hard thing to get out of.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Ethan, before we move on, what was your thoughts on this one, mate?
I just think it was a similar result to what Rochdale would have expected on Saturday. They didn't do anything too spectacular, but Hartlepool are going to find a way to win. 4 points from the first two games. Fans can't grumble at that at all. I feel like the red card was definitely a red card. And as you said with Alex Reid, he definitely plays off confidence from his time at Wealdstone. And when he's in full flow, he's very exciting to watch. And getting his first goal would have definitely helped him so early on in the season. And a good result for Hartlepool, for Braintree. I don't feel like they could expect too much to go to Hartlepool and win. On the result last week, maybe they could have got a point. But sometimes that's just the way it goes in football. And 3 points out of first two games, again, can't really complain.
Yeah, I agree. And I just, obviously, before we move on, Alex Reid, you said there, a penalty, 2-0, comfortable. It's like that could be something for him to build on and go on a bit of a run now, scoring goals. We mentioned him on our preview shows, potentially being in the running for maybe top scorer in the league at some point. So be interesting to see what he builds on from that. Next game, we've got Scunthorpe 3, Woking 1. Ethan, I'll fire straight back to you. What did you think of this game, mate?
First home game back for Scunthorpe, and almost a perfect performance. Declan Howe, brilliant performance with 2 goals, and Scunthorpe will definitely be happy. Woking, they've not started amazingly, but in my predictions, I've actually almost roguely predicted them to finish quite high up in the table this year, because purely the depth of their squad, and they're sort of getting people back around the club that want to be there. Jake Hyde, for example, coming back as a player manager, he's not going to light the world up on the pitch, but his experience will definitely help this Woking side, where maybe they've lacked it in recent years. I was a fan of Dale Gorman when he was playing at Yeovil, very good midfield player, and I feel like if he captains Woking this season through success, then it could be a very, very good time for them.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the highlights, and the one thing I liked about Declan Howe's 2 goals were that I think a combined yardage of both was probably 6 yards. They were both tap-ins. He was literally just in the right place at the right time, and that's an art in itself as a striker. You know, we talk about these players that are going to score lots of goals. If he's in the right place at the right time, he could easily get double figures this season, even into late teens, you know, playing like that. And Danny Whitehall as well, another goal and an assist to add to his unreal free kick last week. I think Scunthorpe could have a very good season. I had them quite high up in my predictions. I think they could have a very good season. They're essentially an EFL club in everything but where they are right now, to be fair. Like, they were always in the EFL for years, obviously fell on hard times, dropped down the leagues. But I expect them to have a good season, and they've started well, 2 wins out of 2. Craig, what was your thoughts on this game, mate?
Yeah, so I was really impressed with how Scunthorpe, once they won the ball, they just come forward with such numbers and such force that they were almost deserved the luck for both their first 2 goals. Yes, they were very chaotic. It was like a bit of pinball wizard in there at times. But what I really liked on the second goal was it was that chaos, and then Danny Whitehall just had a lovely little pass to give, as you said, how a great easy goal 2 yards out, and like you said, combined yardage is 5-6 yards, but what goals they are, don't matter if they're 50 yards or 2 yards, they still count as 1 goal. To try and get as many of them as possible. Bit disappointed with Woking early doors, but then I think they're one of them teams we talked in that prediction show. If they finished 11th, you wouldn't be surprised. If they finished 17th, 18th, you wouldn't be surprised. They're going to be in that bracket of teams that we've mentioned. They're probably too good to go down, probably not quite good enough for playoffs. But a slow start doesn't seem to be the Neil Ardley way they're playing completely at the moment. They're usually quite solid defensively. Wasn't the case then, but it's too early to write them off and say they're going to be down there. I think once they get a couple of points under their belt, they'll be all right, and they'll pick up wins along the way, and probably a few draws with the way Ardley plays as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they played Carlisle first week, and they were in the game for a long period. Like, obviously, I think we were the better side overall, and obviously got the win in the end. But they were in the game for a long time, long throws, set pieces, crosses into the box. They were playing, some dangerous stuff at times. So I think they'll be fine. Like you say, they'll be in that bracket of too good to go down, not quite good enough to, pull up some trees in the playoff areas. Mark, what was your thoughts on this one, mate?
I've said it once, I'll say it again. Danny Whitehall signing that contract to Scunthorpe was absolutely essential, and he's proven it with the goals. I mean, you've got Callum Roberts there as well. It was essential they kept him. But Declan Howe, I mean, I watched him play against Mac for Gainsborough Trinity, and I heard a lot of our fans say we wouldn't mind somebody like him up front for us. And it's a curiosity now. He's gone into the full-time game, and there was people going, can he quite do what he can do at Gainsborough? And the answer to that is yes. If you know how to score goals, you never lose the knack. Doesn't matter if you go through a barren spell or anything like that. You know how to put the ball in the back of the net, then you've got it made. They've got Roberts, they've got Whitehall, they've got Declan Howe, and yeah, that will be massive because they will be in those playoffs, if not higher.
Bold prediction.
You finished 6th, I think, didn't you, Mark? That was...
Yeah,
I did, yes, and I'll stick by that. I think there will be a playoff side, purely because of that front three. That front three. I mean, now that Declan Howe has shown he can do it at that level, full-time football will benefit him very, very greatly. And Scunthorpe are a very, very fortunate team to have him because they took that chance on him.
That's it. You take them chances. Sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes it's a master stroke, isn't it? That's the joy of football, isn't it? But yeah, we'll move on. Obviously, next we've got Southend 2, Tamworth 0. I just wanted to get this one in before I give it to you guys. But we mentioned on our prediction show for the season, I said about Harry Boyes being one of the signings to watch, and we talked about Southend and how Harry Boyes bombing down one side and Scott Morris down the other side. And obviously the second Southend goal was exactly that. It was a Boyes cross into the box, volleyed finish. And I was like, I actually, we talked about how bad some of our predictions might have been at some points. But that was one that we got absolutely bang on for Southend at the weekend. And I think it was a massive performance for them. Tamworth, worrying, obviously missed a penalty early on. Worrying signs early on. Craig, I'll come to you first, mate. Obviously, good win again for Southend, 2 wins out of 2. Tamworth work to do.
Yeah, perfect start, 5 goals. None conceded. Keepers saved a penalty, so he's confidence high. Charlie Kendall's grabbed the goal in both games. Your right back, who everyone's probably wondered, would he start scoring again after scoring as many as he did last season, has got one already. It's a perfect start for them. Tamworth, I predict them to go down. And will it happen? Will it not? It's still very early to say on that one. But again, come to me in 5 games, and if they're still on 1, 2, 0 points as they are now, then they could be banging trouble. But it's very early to write a team off. But haven't seen anything from them that's blown me away yet. And the loss of Dan Creaney will always be mentioned with them this season, unfortunately, unless they start scoring goals.
Yeah, I agree. The Dan Creaney sale will look worse and worse with every passing week that goes by if they're not scoring goals. Mark, what was your thoughts on this one, mate?
You got the 2 best fullbacks in the league. Boys is magnificent. Scott Morris has shown what he's all about. Will Southend get another striker in with Macaulay Bonnet departing? They've got the wages freed up there. They can get somebody again, the PFA list, if they're looking at anybody who they want to bring in on a free. Tamworth, yeah, Dan Creaney's departure is looking. It's a big gap to fill, and Tamworth better start getting their skates on when it comes to scoring goals. If they are trying to change how they play from last season, I don't know. It might be time to revert back, because sometimes if it ain't broke, you don't try to fix it. I know everybody loves the modern game, and it's been passed 60 million times before it goes in the back of the net. But you have to go back to basics sometimes. And Tamworth are really good at that. As I say, I watched them last season, beating Mac 4-2 with exactly that. They've got their lethal weapon, Tom Tonks, and his throw-ins. But if he's got nobody there to get their head on it into the 18-yard box or in the back of the net, then it's a dud. And other teams will come on and take advantage of that, because they're not playing the Tamworth. They put fear into other teams last season. They've got the title and they're taking the tip down.
Southend so far, who we've both all mentioned as being very good sides at the moment. So they will have easier games to come as such. They've had 2 teams that we've backed to do very well this year.
Yeah, definitely. They've had a tough start. So we'll see, like Craig says, in a couple of games' time, if they're still down there with next to no points, we'll maybe revert back to talking about the styles of play and things like that. Ethan, what was your thoughts on this one, mate?
I think it was just a routine home performance. I will say Southend's recruitment this window has been absolutely fantastic. And we've not seen Slavi Spazov yet signed from Slough. I think that might be the sort of different striker that they might be missing. But with Kendall and Walker both getting off the score sheet this season, I think they'll be just fine. I think Southend will do very, very well this year. And they play very well, especially when Colin and Dangandy has that confidence in him. And that penalty will do him the world of good, the penalty save. And I feel like, as you said, they've got the 2 best fullbacks in the league, and there's no doubt about it. Scott Morris scoring, 17 league goals last season? Absolutely fantastic. And he arrives in the box, he just knows where to be. And I feel like he'll have a similar season, and maybe not score as many goals, but he'll definitely be the man that Southend look to when they need a goal. Pia Forson as well, a player who really shone last season, came into his own, and I'm glad to see that Kevin Maher has got him in his plans now, because he can be a fantastic player on his day. They took a blow with Nathan Ralph getting injured yesterday, so it would be good to see interesting to see, should I say, how they sort of patch that one up. But they've definitely got the depth in their squad. Tamworth, yeah, they might be in trouble this year. They've got a big Dan Creaney shaped hole in their team, and I'm not quite sure how they're gonna fill that void. And the only shining light for me is Hayden Hollis. He leads from the back well, but he is also prone to a mistake. So it's not looking great for Tamworth. But again, they didn't really expect it to get 3 points from Roots or a point. It's a tough place to go, and not many teams win there, especially with such a crowd that Southend, around 8,000 there yesterday. It's massive exposure for this league, and Southend, as I said, they'll do fantastic things this year.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely. That takes us on to one that obviously Callum in the group chat mentioned, which was Sutton versus Solihull Moors, saying that obviously he's a Solihull fan, and he was saying that every game's got loads of goals. This one was a pretty ball draw, I think, by all accounts. So we'll quickly, obviously, brush through this. Ethan, I'll come back to you, mate. Another good point for Solihull Moors, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think that's 2 solid points for them.
I'd say so. I'd say they're very similar teams in terms of where people would predict them to be in the table, like at that higher end of mid-table, and a stalemate. It's not great for both sides, but they're going to take a point, especially when they might be chasing the playoffs at the end of this season. I feel like if Solihull really get going with Connor Wilkinson and Dan Creaney somehow getting them to work off each other up front, they can be a real force this season. And with Sutton, I'm a big fan of Lewis Simper, a player who didn't really get a chance at Yeovil, but has dropped from Cambridge to Sutton in the National League, and he's really shown he's coming to his own. But a ball draw, can't be disappointed with it.
Yeah, I mean, both teams. If you gloss it, both teams unbeaten. But unbeaten after 2 games, you'd take it, wouldn't you? So, yeah. I mean, Mark, what was your thoughts on this ball draw, mate?
Yeah, ball draw. We move on.
Yeah, I mean, couldn't say it any better. Craig, what was your thoughts on this one, mate?
Yeah, I just mentioned the zone on this one. The Altrincham, the Aldershot Boston game had highlights of 4 minutes. They decided to put a 9-minute package together for this one. There was not 9 minutes worth of highlights on there, so I turned it off halfway through. So there wasn't too much to add on that one, apart from Tyler French nearly scored a spectacular own goal against his own team. But yeah, both teams unbeaten, both teams yet to win though. So they'll both be looking. This one will quickly get analysed, chalked off, and move on, I think, and that's what we do as well.
Yeah, definitely. We'll move on. Obviously, Max, we had on the show last time. Wealdstone 2-1 against Halifax. 2 wins from Wealdstone, who a lot of people had to struggle this season, including myself. Obviously, this is a great result for them. Max correctly predicted that as well. We'll get on to our predictions shortly. Good result for them. Halifax have got a lot of work to do again. He also missed
the chance at 2-1, by the way. I was watching the highlights, so maybe...
Oh... It's because he knew he predicted 2-1. That's what it was. He knew. Obviously joking there, but yeah. Ethan, I'll come to you first, mate. What did you make of this one?
What a strike from Jack Cook!
Goal of the day.
Absolutely fantastic goal. Halifax struggling to start the season. Maybe expected to get something for a team of their usual finishing position. Wealdstone, they're making their home a fortress, like they might not have done last season. They had some quite heavy defeats. I remember personally Yeovil beating them 3-0, which was a rare occurrence last season. And they're doing well. Great start. They're going to be more than happy with it. Halifax, they've got work to do. Halifax down to 10 men as well. They're not gonna be pleased with the discipline. But David Cower getting his first goal. The man they brought in from Yeovil.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, Halifax work to do. A lot of people, tip them to do well. I mean, they still might. It's just been a bit of a bad start for them. Mark, I'll come to you on this one, mate. What did you make of this one?
Let me give you a piece of advice, folks. Don't go off a pre-season friendly when you're looking at players and go, yeah, they're the best ones, aren't they? Nothing they could do. No goalkeeper worth his salt would have saved the goal from Cook, but oh my goodness! I know Adam Lakeland is new to the National League as it is. He's been in the National League North with Kingsland and Curzon Ashton. I don't know. I think I've been pretty guilty of heaping too much praise too quickly. But Will Harris hasn't. I said about big things from him. Hasn't quite started yet, but he was playing. He was playing in the league below at Spennymoor. Give him a run of games. Halifax will come up, but Sam Johnson, come on, mate. I predicted you as the best in the damn league. Come on, man.
It's still early days, mate. You could still be proven right at some
No,
point.
it's too, yeah. But as I say, no goalkeeper. It didn't matter whether it was Donnarumma in goal. He would not have saved Cook's goal.
No, definitely goal of the day. Craig, what did you make of this one, mate?
Yeah, so I've just put what could go wrong in the first 20 minutes for Halifax has. I was obviously extremely disappointed with their performance when they travelled to Braintree. I was, as a Braintree fan, delighted with it, but
Yeah.
I thought they were extremely poor. And then within 20 minutes here, they've missed a penalty, which Cook took. Harris missed one the week before, so they've missed 2 in 2, which is not great. Harris then gets himself sent off after 15 minutes. 3 minutes later, a Darko scores, who I think Max was singing his praises last week as well.
He was.
If he gets a good run, he will be a really good player for them. And the touch took Sam Johnson, and then I think it made Sam Johnson look extremely bad because of how good his touch was. It kind of left Johnson in no man's land, and then it was a great finish. Good recovery from them, but if you wanted to pick a goal to win a game, it's got to be that one from Cook. It was a fantastic finish, and as we've all said now already, goal of the day. There was some contenders, but it's goal of the day. We'll just see if the Zone actually put the goal of the day actually in their compilation this week, because they didn't put Whitehall's free kick in their compilation last week, which was easily the best goal in the game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I remember seeing that on social media. Everyone was like, "What's the best goal of the day?" And everyone was putting the Danny Whitehall's free kick that you didn't put in the package. But yeah, so yeah, obviously good result for Wealdstone, and we're happy for Max. Carlisle's going there at the weekend, so I hope we do something there when they're making their home a fortress. And then the last game was the 5:30 game, which was Truro against York. I feel like with it being Truro, it's only fair we go to Mark, who was obviously been singing Truro's praises and John Askey's praises. What did you make of this one, mate?
I still have faith in John Askey. I mean, it was a tough ask. I mean, the big question was, can York go all the way down there for a 5:30 kickoff? Yeah, it doesn't matter what time of day you make the kickoff, but it's 2 games gone. I'm getting the feeling that John will add to the squad, but York finally showing their quality. This will appease some of their rather touchy fans on Twitter. You know who you are. My goodness, yeah. Come on, you're grown adults. Get a life, will you? And yeah, Josh Stone's great person to have on. I mean, they've still got Alex Pierce, but their class will shine through. And you know, Carlisle better watch themselves. Rochdale will be looking, saying, "Yep, they're right behind us." But yeah, Truro are the slow burners.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the game.
Will come up.
Yeah, I thought Truro were in the game for a very long time. They played the conditions well. It was very windy. York, the only thing that changed it was York had the depth off the bench, and the bench changed the game. That was the only difference.
That'll be a changer in any game. It doesn't matter whether they're playing Truro, Woking, or playing against the likes of Rochdale and Carlisle. They can go, oh, we've got him on the bench. We can bring on a Josh Stone, so somebody like that, and the opposition will be going, oh, for God's sake, that's definitely what you need. If you get people who can change the game off your bench when it ain't going right, then that's worth its weight in gold, and something for other clubs to look and say, right, we've got to counter that as well by having somebody special of our own.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely. Ethan?
I think Truro were quite tough to break down. They did very well for the first 80 minutes, and they were that sort of team in the National League South. They've lost Jays Kabir to Grimsby, and he's obviously a massive miss. And with Tyler Harvey out injured last night, it was always a mountain to climb. with just Luke Jeffcott and Johnson Fisher trying to go up against York. York strength in depth. They're always gonna get results. A standard win as far as they're concerned. Truro, I think they'll be fine. I think they need to add one or two players, but they've got some real quality missing right now. Harry Kite, great player, great pickup from Exeter, and I think they'll be fine. I don't think they're in too much trouble. I think they'll survive. I think they've got the team to survive, and John Askew is a brilliant manager.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Craig,
well done, Ethan.
Craig, before we move on to the predictions, anything you want to add?
Nothing too much to add. I said this could be a performance of champions showing their depth. Not great, but find a way to win. Stones and Pearce obviously managed to combine for a goal, so might give Hinshaw a thought that can they play together. And yeah, job done for them. Truro will have tests that will be more at their level, but they've shown they can compete against York for 80 minutes. So when someone else comes over there, they might have enough to get a point or three as well and keep their heads above water.
Yeah, definitely, mate, definitely. So obviously that covers the weekend's games. We're going to quickly do our predictions. I'll come to Craig on this. Obviously, Craig will have it in front of him. How's the prediction league looking, mate, before we do our predictions?
Yes, so I will just get it up very quickly. But Max, our guest last week, obviously Wealdstone player, had a fantastic week. He scored 23 points, taking the guests from 4th place to 2nd place. He got 3 perfect scores and 4 correct results, so no pressure on Ethan to try and match him this week. Dan, you scored no perfect results, but you got 6 correct victories. So you were picking the right teams, just not the right scores as such. Mark got 1 correct result. 1 perfect result and 4 correct. I got 2 correct perfectly and 5 results correct. So the current scores are Craig 35, Guest 29, Mark 21, and Dan 21.
Oh, that's a tight one at the bottom there.
Me and Mark in a relegation scrap.
Exactly.
So obviously I'll do it in Tuesday, Wednesday order. Obviously we've got games Tuesday and Wednesday, so we'll start, like I say, we'll just quickly whiz through. Tuesday we've got Altrincham, Hartlepool. I've got 2-1 Altrincham in this one. Craig, what's your predictions for this one?
Score draw 1-1.
Yeah. Ethan?
1-1.
1-1. Mark, what's yours?
I'm going to shock you here. 1-1.
I hope I'm right then, because I'll get one up on all yours. Next we've got Boston, Halifax. I'll let Ethan go first on this one.
I went 2-0 Boston.
Mark?
2-1 Boston.
Craig?
Snap 2-1 Boston.
I've got 2-0 Boston. Halifax 1-0 incoming. Carlisle versus Solihull Moors. Mark, I'll come to you first, mate. What you got for this one?
2-1 Carlisle.
Craig?
2-0 Carlisle.
Ethan?
3-1 Carlisle.
I've got 3-2 Carlisle. Depending on who plays in defence. If it's the same defence, the other team will score. Tamworth, Truro. Mark, I'll come to you first.
First win of the season for Sir John, 2-1.
Craig?
Was that a 2-1 away win, sorry?
It was indeed.
I'm going 1-0 home win.
Oh, you would.
Ethan?
Also gone 1-0 Tamworth.
Oh,
I've got 1-0 Tamworth as well.
can we get a bleep? Can I get a bleep in here or something? Because you're all a bunch of
long throwing in off someone's backside.
Yeah.
That's how Tamworth win that game.
Courtesy of the lethal weapon.
Yeah. The last one for Tuesday is Woking versus Wealdstone. Craig, what you got for this one?
I feel like Woking will get something from this. I think Wealdstone's winning streak will finish 2-1 Woking.
I've got 1-1 score draw. Ethan?
I've gone 2-1 Wealdstone. They're going 3 for 3.
Mark?
0-0.
Oh,
Well, at least
That's always
that's a game somebody's getting a points on. So we've got winners on both sides and a draw on there.
I always like a rogue 0-0 in there somewhere because no one ever wants to predict a 0-0.
That'll be the game for it.
Yeah. Wednesday's games, we've got Aldershot versus Eastleigh. First up, I'm going 2-1 Aldershot. Craig, what have you got for this one?
I am going 2-2. Aldershot concede, Eastleigh need goals.
Yeah, Ethan
I've gone 2-1 Aldershot.
and Mark.
Aldershot concede goals. Eastleigh need goals. So 0-0.
Boreham Wood versus Braintree. Makes sense to go to Craig first. What have you got for this one?
I'm hoping to be able to go to this one. This is one of the more local away games for us. 1-1.
Mark, what have you got for this one?
Going to be an entertaining 2-2 because of Luke Norris.
Yeah, I've got 2-2 as well, actually. Ethan, what have you got for this one?
I've gone 1 apiece.
Also, we've all gotten for draws then. Oh, it'll just be interesting. It'll probably 3-3. Forest Green versus Sutton up next. Ethan, what have you got for this one?
2-0 Forest Green again.
Yeah, I've got 2-0 Forest Green as well. Mark, what have you got for this one?
3-0 Forest Green.
Craig?
2-1 Forest Green.
Unanimous on a Forest Green win. Rochdale versus Gateshead. I'll go first. I've got 3-1 Rochdale. Expecting another win for Rochdale. Ethan?
Rochdale 2-1.
Mark?
I've got a feeling this is going to be a good one. 4-2 Rochdale.
Could be a very good game.
Or making up for
Craig?
the lack of goals in some of the others.
Yeah. Craig?
Yeah.
I think it will be similar to Gateshead Southend. I think Rochdale will show their quality. 3-0 Rochdale.
Some different results there. Southend versus York. Ethan?
1-1.
1-1. I've got 2-2. Craig?
2-1 Southend.
Ooh. Oh, that won't go down well on the online community. Mark, what have you got for this one?
Notifications.
I'm just about to make it worse. 2-0 Southend.
Yeah,
Come at me.
they'll be coming after us. And then lastly, we've got Yeovil versus Brackley. Makes sense to come to Ethan.
Yeah,
What have you got for this one?
Won't score many, won't concede many. We'll win 1-0.
I've got 1-0 as well. 1-0 as well. Craig?
Yeah, I hate going the same as everyone else, but I can't see many goals, and I see Yeovil coming out on top 1-0.
Have we got a full house, Mark?
We do indeed, and that Ethan's praise of John Askey has just swayed it to a 1-0 win.
Yes. So we're all unanimous there. We're all unanimous. But yeah,
Must happen then.
But obviously, you know, we've done our predictions quite quickly there because we know we've obviously rabbited on for a while. So obviously, like I say, thanks again to Ethan for joining us, giving us his perspective on Yeovil. Mark and Craig, as always, for their expert analysis and giving us their opinions as well. Well, I think you're experts. It's fine. I think you're experts.
It's been 2 games, Dan.
I know. I'm naive. Let me be.
Very.
But yeah. But obviously, the most overriding news, obviously, is Morecambe being saved eventually. Massive congratulations to them for getting that sorted and over the line. Positive news eventually for them. So everyone at the deck wishes them all the best for the season ahead. We hope everything goes through smoothly and we'll see you playing on Saturday. But thanks everyone for watching. Take care and we'll see you all soon. Cheers.